Hey everybody, how's it going? Mike from the Focus Garage coming at you here. And in today's video, we've got the Cayman on some quick jacks and we're gonna be doing a BJ. And no, that's not what you think it is. I just mean a brake job. When I bought this car, it had probably, I don't know, 20, 30,000 miles on the pad and rotor setup. And I've done some aggressive driving with the car. And I don't know how much you can see here, just kind of getting in. I mean, it's not horrible, but there's a little bit of scoring. There's a little bit of a lip and the pads are, I don't know, 50% done. And what had happened is I kind of got into my own head and everything escalated quickly. I'm like, well, it's probably gonna need pads at like the end of the season or something like that. So why don't I just do pad slap now? And I'm like, well, I don't really want to pad slap it. Let me see what's available. And then what ended up happening is I ordered a full set of Brembo pads and rotors. So we've got full Brembo stuff going on the car here. This isn't gonna be necessarily a DIY video per se, but I just kind of want to show you guys me working in the garage here and some things that I uncover while I'm going through everything with the car here. And depending on if it's in this video or if I'm feeling froggy or how everything goes with this, I may actually start pulling this bumper back off in preparation of the new bumper that I'm going to be installing on the vehicle soon. So give me a few minutes here, well, a few seconds for you, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the wheels off, at least on this side of the car, and see basically what we could learn from doing brakes on this. From what I've seen online, it's kind of interesting. This is your traditional Brembo style caliper, but in classic fashion here, you can't just pop a pin and get the pads out in the front. You've got to remove the whole caliper anyways. The rears are a little bit better. You've got this center punch pin here. You pop that out if you wanted to sneak the pads out, but I want to do the rotors too also. The rears have a little bit of a lip as well. And I figure just, you know, while you're in there, it's only a couple more screws to pull the rotor head off and everything like that. So let me get the wheels off. We'll get into it. I think I'm going to do the fronts first and then the rears. We'll do the driver's side here, see what I can learn from it. And then we'll just pretty much hop into it and see what we've got going on. So we've got the wheel off and I kind of wanted to give you a better look of what you've got going on here. I actually just went ahead and I cleaned the inside of the wheel wells here with degreaser. So I figured, again, while I'm in here, I'm going to try something I saw on Legit Street Cars channel, which is this Mudslinger product. I'm going to line my wheel wells in it because apparently this will help with repelling any kind of like dirt and debris and stuff as it sticks to the wheel wells. So I wanted to get that nice and clean, and we'll let it dry before we apply any of it. But I'm going to give it a spray in here and just kind of see what it does and see if it keeps the wheel wells looking clean. So that's one thing. Here we've got the rotor. Again, it's not horrible. You could definitely get away with probably pad slapping this and continuing onwards. I don't want to do that. So to do the brakes on these, it's pretty easy. You've got a 10mm bolt right on top there. All right, Mike from the future coming at you with a couple of tips here before we get too far into the video. Now, if I would have told myself stuff to know before getting into this, here are some of the main pieces. One, these rotor set screws may fight you, so have a good impact socket ready for that. Or make sure you spray them with some PP Blaster or hit them with a hammer while you've got a screwdriver in there. Be ready for those to fight you. Two, have a really, really good ratcheting pad spreader tool or piston spreader tool for the caliper. It'll save you a lot of time versus trying to do clamps or anything like that. I'll have one kind of later in the video where I'll show you what you need for that. This plug, there is a little clip here on this wiring harness that holds the plug for the pad wear sensor. Just make sure that you unclip that before trying to unplug this. And then to unplug this, you just have to lift up this clip here and push back. It will come unplugged. And if you've got this 10mm undone, it'll get everything apart there very, very easily. Torque for the caliper bolts here, 63 foot-pounds. And I think that's the majority of the main stuff that you need to know. Again, I'll probably talk about it in the video. It's dumb that you have to disassemble the entire caliper to get the pads out. There's no pin or anything like that. But those are kind of my main takeaways. These might fight you. Make sure you pull that 10 out. Make sure you take this clip apart down there that hold the two lines together. And other than that, you should be okay in the front. There's nothing too crazy there. Backs, I'll get into it later on in the video, but not very difficult at all in comparison. I mean, neither is very difficult, but if you've done the fronts, you should be able to do the back. Make sure you've got the front popped open and that you have the master cylinder cap open as well. And I think that's all of the tips and advice from future Mike that I want to give you here. So without that, let's jump back to past tense me. That you take off to kind of loosen this whole bracket that holds all the cables and sensors for the brake pads and the ABS and everything like that. And then you've got two giant T55 bolts here, top and bottom, that you're going to take off, and it will essentially remove the entire caliper assembly. Then it's like any other brake job ever. You're pretty much going to go ahead and you're just going to compress the pads in the piston. You'll swap them over, with new hardware if you've got that. You do have a pad wear sensor, as you can see here, so you're definitely going to want to unplug that where it meets into the car here. So unplug your pad wear sensor, swap it over, or if the new pads have it, just install it that way. And you're pretty much good to go. I mean, nothing crazy. You've got your bolts here for the rotor hat. I'm not imagining anything crazy going on here, but you don't really know until you get into it. So cleaned up the wheel well here, kind of, let you see. And yeah, that's kind of what the front looks like. Again, little lip, nothing crazy. We've got some scoring on it. So there was some pad material jammed in these holes. It's looking better, but not the worst. And then when we go to the back here, a little bit better. Same thing, I've cleaned this up, as you can see, very, very similarly. And then with this one, it's the exact same. You've got two T55s if you're going to be removing the entire caliper, which I am. Otherwise, you could punch this out and be able to swap just the pads. I'll still need to punch this out anyways because I'm doing the pads and the rotor. One of the only differences with the rear is you may have to adjust the e-brake. There's videos that kind of go into that in great detail. Here's what I'm looking at for the rear pads. So a good amount of life left on these. But again, since I'm doing the fronts, I figured I might as well do the rears, just do it all at once, get pads in here that, I know what they are. So I'm interested to see what comes out of here. I think these are gonna be OEM Porsche pads, but I'm not really sure. Same treatment here. We're gonna be doing the mudslinger in the wheel wells, front and back, and we'll see what we got as I get into this. A little bit of rust on the hat there, not too bad. I got the wire brush. We'll go ahead and get most of that off. These don't look too impacted, so hopefully those don't fight me coming out. I don't know. Other than that, it looks like a pretty common brake job here. Here you can see that new Carnival exhaust, the headers. I don't know. It's always nice to be able to get your car up in the air, do a little bit of inspection on your sway bar end links, struts, everything like that. We've also got lowering springs that'll be going on soon. Not in this video, but soon enough. Got your OEM wheels right there also. So let me get into this and we'll see what we come up with. All right, we got one front done and it wasn't as bad as I thought, honestly. So you can see now we've got, some beefy pad material in there. We've got Brembo, I'm very, very pleased with that. The only thing that really fought me was these freaking rotor screws, man. I tried like with an impact, using my body weight, everything like that, and I started stripping them and I started panicking, but then I realized I came with new screws, so I didn't care as much. I didn't have to drill them out, but I really, really had to hammer and impact basically my screwdriver bit into here to make sure that they came out. They weren't with Loctite or anything. It was just, I don't know, maybe they had been in there. They kind of corroded a little bit. Not a big deal. Those fought me. But as far as like caveats or anything like that, a lot of caliper pad tools don't really fit in here to spread out the pads just due to the design of the caliper. So you might have to get creative with like C-clamps or different kind of caliper spreader tools. If somebody knows something that works really, really well, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below. You could help somebody out. But as far as like loading the old pads out and putting the new pads in, basically you got these big little ears here, basically you've got these ears here, top and bottom, and all you want to do is load it in one of them and then kind of spring press up and around to get the pad in there. You've got a 10mm bolt up top here that kind of has this little bracket that holds the brake pad wear sensor. So make sure that you kind of take that bracket off, gives you some more room to kind of swing the caliper around. But again, it wasn't that bad. If you've done brakes before, this shouldn't be too bad for you. The caliper bolts are 63 foot-pounds, so I did torque those to spec because I do not want those coming out there. Everything went pretty well. Let's get to the back and I will give you kind of takeaways and what I see from there. The rears were so much easier. Why can't the fronts have this same kind of pin style? The nice thing about this style with the pin is you don't have to worry about putting the pads in or anything like that before you put the caliper back on the mounting bracket and the rotor and everything like that. You can leave all of this fully disassembled, mount the caliper back up, and then slide in, your pin and your hardware and everything like that. So that makes the rears a lot easier. Just like the fronts, really. The only thing that I struggled with was, again, these set screws for the rotor. They weren't, like crazy, but like I'm not trying to drill them out and make more work for myself than I need. So basically what I'm doing is I am just really leveraging, some PB Blaster and just body weight and impact to really get in there and get that out. But again, just like the front, everything went pretty well. Got the bolts torqued for the caliper all the way as far as they need to go. Here we got the whole fresh rotor and everything like that. Some beefy pads. You've got your 10mm here, just like the front. I mean, they really made this kind of user-friendly. So you pop out this 10 mil so that way you've got kind of this whole bracket with all the cable assembly, enough to get you slack to get the caliper out. You got your two set screws for the rotor. That comes off. Real easy here. Like I said, I'm still running the pad wear sensors, but I bought brand new ones front and rear. Super duper easy. They just clip right in, and this is kind of what it looks like if you're wondering how it goes. This goes under, so the outer pad has the upper sensor, the inner pad has the lower sensor, and then this just kind of snakes around and goes back up through here. Nothing crazy. I mean, if you've done brakes before, I definitely think that you could do this. It's nothing out of the realm of possibilities. Make sure that you've got the master cylinder opened up in the front there so that way you're letting fluid kind of flow back. Keep an eye on that, make sure it doesn't bubble out or anything. But I mean, honestly, this hasn't been too bad. So we've got kind of one whole side of the car done here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, and we'll see basically how that goes, if we have any other questions or weirdness. But so far so good. I'm gonna pop these both loose on the other side first now, so I don't have to fight with those and be surprised. Oh, and then here's kind of what the mudslinger looks like. So we've got the mudslinger in the wheel wells here after having them degreased and kind of laid down. We'll see how this holds up. I mean, it basically makes it look nice and fresh as opposed to kind of like this gray chalky plastic look. So I like that. But yeah, here's where we are so far. We've got front and rear done on the driver's side. Let's go hit the passenger side and see what we've got. Again, it's real nice to see that beefy pad material. These should also dust a little bit less than what I pulled off. So let me do the other side, let you know about any weird anomalies, and then we'll go ahead and close this one out. All right, I've just got one last piece to add here. I'm finishing up on the passenger front side, and I know in the beginning of the video I was talking about having difficulty compressing the caliper. Just get yourself one of these tools. With these tools, you just pull the pads out, slap this inside, and then this is just a ratcheting tool that you can basically crank to expand the pads. Makes your life so much easier versus using like C-clamps or something like this. So easy. So we're finishing this up. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the caliper one last time here, but we've got the rears done, got the front done, everything's done. I mean, basically just have to pretty much pump the pedal a couple times, get some feel back in it, and see how everything feels. We'll probably do a drive shortly here, but everything went pretty well. Gotta, tie everything together. But this was a lifesaver for compressing the front calipers. Other stuff didn't work as well. People said, you can like put screwdrivers in here and pry it. I didn't want to do any of that. This is the right way to do it. It's like 15 bucks on Amazon or at an auto parts store. Just get that, do that. But aside from that, nothing crazy. I'm really enjoying the way the mudslinger kind of turned out in the wheel wells here. I think that looks really nice. I've got to finish cleaning everything here and put the wheels back on and everything like that, but it really wasn't that bad. I think you can save yourself thousands of dollars if you have a 981 Porsche versus going to the dealer and paying dealer labor to do this. So definitely, don't be afraid. There's nothing that's complicated about this versus like a regular car or something like that. If you've worked on brakes before, you should be able to handle something like this. I also like to use this as a good chance to get inside and look, to make sure your steering looks good, your swivel end links, any kind of bushings in the suspension, the struts, everything like that. It's just a good chance to get to know your car. You'll also want some kind of box, right here I've got a Rain-X box to hold the caliper when you're working on taking everything apart, so that way you're not putting stress on the brake line. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. I definitely recommend doing this yourself if it's something that you're interested in, and you should be able to have fresh, brand new brakes when you're done. I mean, what is this garbage? Come on, let's throw this out of here. Techstar brakes, come on. I'm talking about Brembos here. So we got Brembos in here now. We should be good to go, and thanks for checking this one out. Again, not really so much of a DIY, but just kind of a what I'm doing in the garage type of video here. Thanks for checking this one out. I'll catch you guys in the next one.